Okay, today is probably one of the most exciting days for me doing these podcasts. Is one of my longtime friends, someone I, can consider anytime I need to talk to someone, have a conversation with someone. James is a guy I know I could reach out to. So I'm happy to introduce James Leeper. James, why don't we start, by the way, welcome.
Thank you.
Awesome
Thank you
to
so
see
much.
you, man. You know that. Why don't we start? Tell us a little bit about yourself, and then why don't maybe tell us how you got into the insurance business.
Awesome. First and foremost, my name is James Leeper. I'm from Tequila, Georgia. I'm an agency owner with Symmetry Financial Group. Started in this industry probably about 13 years ago, Joe. And when I came into this industry, it's funny that I'm here today because you were the person that actually recruited me into the business. So it's funny, I was making a transition in life with my family. We came to Connecticut. For that transition, I answered an ad for an account management position. I ended up interviewing with the Joe Violetta. And I'll never forget something that you told me, Joe, when we first met. When I was asking questions, you told me that if I followed the system, listened to everything that you said, that I could probably have everything that I wanted and faster than I could ever imagine having it. And what's true about that statement is that within 6 months, I had found my true career, my calling, and everything that I was looking for, I actually had gotten within about 6 months. So, shout out to you and your mentorship, your friendship. It's full circle, me being here right now together with you. So thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. And, we joke and kid around a lot with different things going through, families and relationships and obviously the business. And, I still think I can stick to three better than you. But
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things. If we had Steve here, it'd be even better,
Yeah.
So you made a transition. And, one of the things that you mentioned full circle and getting together and being able to talk is one of the things that's really awesome about building the Quorum agency and building your own agency and being on the independent side is you can collaborate. We don't work together. We're not working in the same downline. We're not working with the same uplines, but we're collaborating right now and working together. So, maybe tell us a little bit about your captive experience. I know you were highly successful, qualified for conventions. Tell us a little bit about how you transitioned from the captive side to the independent side and maybe share your thoughts on the pluses of being a captive agent. Obviously, the mentorship, like you mentioned, is a big part of that. But what else did you really experience going through the captive side?
Well, I must say, I hear a lot of agents who are captive, who go independent, they have these horror stories. And I can't really say that I have much of a horror story. Obviously, there was a reason that I made the transition from captive to being independent. But I must say that on the captive side, I got a lot of beautiful things out of that experience. I got a lot of great training. I got some great mentorship. I think it was a blessing more than anything that I ended up on a team with guys like you, Vin, Mike Jaddick, and some of our other, fallen comrades. But I came into a great situation with great leadership. So, and that's not the case for a lot of people. For a lot of people, it's not as great as it was for me, but I did walk into that situation, had some great mentorship. I got a great base of knowledge from what I was being taught. I learned a lot about Medicare, holistic planning. More importantly, I learned how important it was to really focus on helping people and not being focused on the dollars. And being able to do that and learn those things, learn those lessons, really propelled me to have a lot of success early. So I was blessed to be able to do that. I didn't really ever struggle in the business because I was able to have a lot of success quickly. And then I just built some great relationships, which is why we're here today. The relationships matter the most. I had a lot of great experiences. Obviously, I was with you guys for a couple of years, and then I transitioned to Georgia, took over a branch down there, had a lot of success there. And then I had my transition period where some relationships didn't work out. Some things didn't really go the way that they were supposed to. And so I felt like it was time to move on. Divine timing, I like to call it. Mm-hmm. So I decided to make that choice and go go independent. And my eyes were open. It was like, it was like, like the Matrix, Neo, the Matrix, you take the blue pill and the red pill, and I chose to take the red pill, and it just kind of opened my eyes to all the things that were really possible on the independent side. Increased commissions, anonymity, freedom, ownership, things of that nature. So been in Symmetry's financial group for about 9 years now. I'm an agency owner, which means I have true ownership of my business and my agency, building lots of great relationships and, growing the brand there. So yeah, man, it's been a great transition for us.
Yeah, and you hit on so many things there. One, I know when I reached out to you, and I shocked you, when I reached out to you in 2020 and I told you I was making the switch over to the independent space, and you're like, you're bankers, you bleed that banker's life, and it was eye-opening. And I think you mentioned relationship issues and making that transition over and now you have full ownership of it. I think in 2020, when you look at the pandemic and the way things were going, that's what prompted me to look, and I was looking not to leave, but I was looking to go online and find businesses in the insurance space that were successful doing Zoom calls or doing telesales, because we weren't. We're a kitchen table. We were a kitchen table company. And that's when it was like, we were talking this morning a little bit on. I was like, when I'm talking to people, I'm like, wait a second, what? You can't do that. Not only can you do it, you can do it with 12 carriers.
Yes.
And it definitely is a huge eye opener. And I think, when you're in the captive space, it's safe.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why a lot of people stay there. And you can build great relationships. You can build great teams. There's a lot of positives to be in the captive space. But, for me, when I look at the biggest differences on the independent space, it's ownership. It's true value. And that was something that I don't think I realized as much when I worked for the captive space, was that we were providing value, but it was a very finite set of products. Versus, now when you go out in the industry, you're giving them the best product at the lowest cost that fits their needs the best. And you're hand selecting who you put them in versus trying to fit them to that one product that you offer. So what a big difference it is. Why do you think you're having so much success right now on the independent side?
I think it's the differences that you kind of outlined. Freedom is how I really like to, if I put it all in a nutshell with one word, I would just say freedom. It's the freedom to work with multiple carriers so that I'm not worried about trying to fit a certain client into a certain box that I've created, because that's all that I have.
Right.
I can literally sit down with people, talk to them about what their real wants, desires, needs are, and find a specific carrier with a specific program that's going to fit all of their needs. So it's more needs-based selling than it is me trying to convince you that you should take this because of that. It's very simply a conversation. Yeah. It's not sales, it's a conversation, it's a relationship, and us partnering to get this family to where it is that they want to go. And then obviously, let's talk about money, man. I think when we get in this space, a lot of people, they get uncomfortable talking about money. Money's become the bad guy. Money is not bad. Let me just say this, money allows you to be more of who you really are. And so if you're a good person, it's going to allow you to do more good. If you're not such a good person, you're going to do more not good things, right? But money is a good thing that allows you to have more impact. And what I found on the independent side is there's more money, plain and simple. The commission levels are higher. You're going to get an opportunity on the independent side. What I found was to get paid what I'm really worth, as opposed to being on a set commission schedule, no matter how many people I help. I get to kind of increase my commission levels, my renewals, things of that nature. And I really get to get out there and really get what I'm worth. And I think a lot of people are suffering from that in the captive space, that they're not able to really get paid what they feel like they're worth.
Yeah, and I think the concept of being a business owner and having ownership, when you look at that over here, and then you look at someone that's in a captive space, and I don't know who coined the phrase, but we've talked to a lot of people since coming out of the captive side, and it's a W-2 mentality when you're in the captive space. Lower commissions, and you're going into an office. I know you're an independent contractor, but there's really set hours. There's really expectations of you being in an office space at a certain time. And when you look at the freedom that we have on the independent side, it's not only money, but that money does allow you to do something that is really helpful is it gives you capital. And you heard me say it because we're talking today about the reoccurring revenue, where now all of a sudden you're steamrolling revenue on an annual basis. The top agent in the former branch that, in renewals in the former branch that we were at was 50, 70 grand in renewals a year that had been there. They're there 20 years. Mm-hmm. We have 7 agents making over $100,000 a year in renewals in less than 3.5 years.
Yeah.
And, they're working hard. They got a strong work ethic. They're doing that. The other part that I think is really surprising when people get out of that space and come into the independent space is, the ability to do some fun things. And, one of the main questions I was going to ask you about was, obviously we're talking and you're probing us a little bit and asking us questions about some of the spaces we're in. But, we were asking you, tell us a little bit about like infinite banking and how that really, you get to really help people with that concept. So maybe we'll share a little bit on that for us if you could.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to. I would just, ask people if you were in the sales space, if you were doing what we do in the financial services, if you were to ask your client a question like, if I could show you, Joe, how to, pay off all of the debt that you have, whether it's college loans, whether it's cars, credit cards, mortgages, if I could show you how to pay those things off in 7 to 10 years without paying any more money out of your pocket than you're paying right now, do you think that would benefit you? 99% of the people would say absolutely, and then they would also say that's probably not possible.
Right.
But it's
the whole single premium thing, right? It's too good to be true. Right?
Yeah,
There's no way I can give you $10,000. You could turn around and give me 30. Right. So I know.
So people don't believe it's possible, but the truth of the matter is that it's possible through infinite banking and debt-free life, which we do have, available to our clients, and we can actually show people how to eliminate their debt, eliminate, their interest, and eliminate, all these things that kind of cause us the baggage and keep us in debt and keep us stressed out every day. We're able to offer those infinite banking concepts and allow people to create their own bank, and borrow money from themselves at a much lower interest rate, in some cases 0 to 1%. Versus you going and borrowing money from a bank and them charging you whatever they charge you to invest your money and make more money, right?
Right.
We have those options. We can do things like Smart Start programs for children, and show them how to give, children $1 million tax-free by the time that they are ready to retire.
Yeah.
And even if you don't want to look that far out to retirement, let's just say, Joe, I'm going to ask you a question. Mm-hmm. When you were in college, were you broke like me?
Yes.
Okay, I was very broke, right? Extremely broke. So if you were in college and your parents could send you $250 a week, $200 a week, how would that have made your experience different?
I don't know if I would have passed if I got $250 a week. I would probably have bought a lot of beer, but my life would have been a lot easier for
Dude,
sure.
I would have been considered rich. Okay, I literally would have been rich. Okay, and I played basketball, which means I had some stipends here and there, and I was still broke, right?
Yeah.
So even if we're not looking out to the $1 million, right? We're not looking that far. Sure, you can do it. Mm-hmm. But what if we were able to just, when our children turn 16 or 17, we could go and buy them a car? My parents never bought me a car. Every car I've ever owned, I bought on my own.
Yeah. Same
right?
for me.
If when our daughters and our sons go to get married, if we could take out $25,000 tax-free and not have to claim it as income and pay for a wedding, if we could pay for a down payment on our house for our children, like how impactful would those things be, right?
Those are major life events that you could impact positively with a gift. So that's huge.
And those are things that we're able to do for people, and it's very simple, and so being able to be in that space and help people in those types of ways by just simply asking the right questions, man, it just gives us so much freedom and so much ability to help people. And at the end of the day, that's what we're here to do.
Yeah, and like I said, it was definitely something that I was excited to talk to you about and learn a little bit about, because we hear a lot out there. And, one of the things when we do a lot of these podcasts, it's, we do ones that are really to help people in the industry that are agents that want to, you used the word earlier, and I always use it, is the whole 4 core or 4 square concept of holistic planning. And, you don't go out there and just sell one product. You go out there and you talk to the people and you find out what's important and you solve problems. And also when you're solving a problem, the product's the solution, but the problem is what you're addressing. People don't want to buy products. They want to solve problems. Mm-hmm. And, for me, when we start talking about concepts like this, one of the reasons it's important to kind of get that out there is we kind of said before, they're too good to be true, where you listen to people online and they're not in the industry. They don't know anything about the industry yet. They're certain this is what you do and this is what you don't do.
Right.
And, they're trying to influence people without education. Mm-hmm. And people, unfortunately, sometimes people believe a lot into that. So, these are areas where we're talking about something life-changing that in reality could have a minimal, if not zero, cost effect on them on a month-to-month basis, right?
Right, absolutely.
And if anybody could cut their mortgage from 30 years to 15 or 25 to 7 or whatever the number ends up being, you're in a better position, which leads your lifestyle to be better sooner. Yeah. And, money is something that people struggle with relationship-wise. And a lot of times people don't understand how to run that mathematical kind of equation on how to make it work better. So I think that's awesome. And, obviously, James is someone to reach out with. If this is something you want to learn about, he's the guy you want to reach out and learn from. For us, when we're, really helping people and bringing people on board, it's having it be that one-stop shop, mm-hmm. Is if you have a problem, you call Mike Jadek, or you call Vin Fairshano, doesn't matter whether it's a medical problem, doesn't matter if it's something you want to do on the life legacy side. If you're, we're helping people this morning with retirement planning, and they're concerned about the market. They're worried about raising inflation and stuff like that. And they want to be able to retire and, they want safe money. They want to be able to relax and be able to do that. So for James, I know working with us and, why should people partner with us? Why do you think partnering with Four Core and our crew would be something beneficial for people?
I think it goes back to what you just mentioned, the holistic planning. It's literally, well, first and foremost, you get to work with people that have integrity. Joe, I've known you for over a decade. And there's a reason that we've always stayed close in this, because when I was brand new in this business and I had no clue of what to do or how to do it, the first thing that you ever really talked to me about was my family. I don't ever really remember talking about numbers with you. It was always family first. I remember the way you handled me, when I was running one of your branches early on, and you brought me there. You brought me there and left me to run the branch, right? And I had a problem there, and you called me up on the phone and you were like, hey man, this is going on. You want me to come and fix it. And you knew my ego would not let me tell you to come and fix it. You knew me, and so I was like, no, man, I got it. And then later on, that day you actually called me like, hey man, me and Diane are going to take you and your wife and family to dinner. And we went to dinner and you kind of pulled me to the side and we had a discussion about what was going on. And you kind of gave me the game on how to fix it, but that's how you handled me from a leadership perspective. And that's why Four Core has grown, because of the integrity of the leadership first and foremost. And then, after we talk about the people, it's really about the processes. It's that holistic planning. It's that we're going to take care of all of the things. I like to use the word bulletproof when I do with my clients. I want to make my clients bulletproof. And one of the ways that you can do that in our industry is by giving people guarantees. We deal in programs and products that don't really leave any room for slippage, for mistakes to be made. Insurance is a safe space and has always been a safe space for people. So to be able to put someone in a program and know that they're going to get guarantees against the market. Okay, so even if the market tanks tomorrow, John, you're still good.
The concept of protection is something that I think people take for granted. And when we tell people, which is so big, is as you approach retirement, what we're here to do is to protect what you've accumulated. So often all they hear is they turn on the TV and there's 7 or 8 different financial channels right now that are telling you in a ticker and invest your money in this and we'll triple it and we'll do that. And they don't spend a lot of time talking about loss. They also
do the people read the small fine print at the bottom though?
They can't.
Right, exactly.
I'm 54. I can't read the fine print.
Because there's always some fine print. Everybody out there, when you see these commercials that look so good, pause your TV. Like we have the technology today. Pause the TV and read the fine print. No, that's where you really find out what's going on. You're
right. And if you look at a lot of the times when people are, and they're not doing it consciously, but their role is to grow money. And when you're 47 or 54, you're still growing. When you're 20, you can do whatever you want, really, within reason. But you can kind of be as risky as you want. If you lose everything, it's really not going to hurt you in the long run. But when you get to be 65, and I'm talking to people right now that are like, I want to retire in a year or 2 years, and I have X amount of dollars in my retirement. Well, what happens if you lose 30% of your IRA? You're not retiring any longer. Some of them, they're going to end up having to work more.
2008.
Exactly. To have to be able to do something like that. And I appreciate what you had mentioned about us in terms as a group and integrity. And, I can tell you, if it's definitely something I'm extremely proud of, is to see you build and grow in the business, and to have a small part in that. I really appreciate that. And you were tough. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm sure I was.
No, but I will say, is when it's like molding clay, and you've heard me say this before with when someone comes in, is that you have to look at the person, and to me, the only things that I care about when someone sits down in front of me is, do I think they have a strong work ethic? Because if they have a strong work ethic, if they're flexible, adaptable, trainable, and they're ethical, because that's a big, big deal. All the other stuff is trainable. How to talk to people, you can train people how to do that. Where it's important is to lead from the front. And you're one of the best examples of go out, do it, let me watch you do it, and then you can go do it yourself. And it's replicating that process and that structure. And, for us, I think our biggest success is the fact that we're watching multiple, we're in double digits now since we started here of people scaling businesses and scaling agencies and buying houses and getting married and just doing all the things that as a leader, it's not a monetary thing. It's this is awesome. You're impacting people and you're able to see them grow and excel. It just gives you that warm feeling right there that this is why you do what you do. And then you flip it and you look at we're impacting, like you mentioned, families, and for us in particular, seniors. And you get the people that say, thank you so much. I don't have to worry about this anymore. Or, I'm so glad you're here because this is very confusing and I don't want to make a mistake. And kind of what you said to me, is, people will be staying up late at night worrying. And they meet you and they say, I don't worry anymore. I just know I can call you. And then we just hope they don't call us 37 times in the same day. But, you really get to do that. So, also, James is building and growing. So especially if you're in the Georgia area and you're looking to get into the business, or if you're looking to diversify in the business, if you're just doing one thing and you're looking to work with someone that's doing a lot of different things in the area and can help you grow and scale, my guy James here is the guy you want to reach out to. So, James, I want to thank you, man.
Thank you so much, Joe.
This is fun.
I appreciate you, brother.
Did you ever think we would be doing a podcast?
I never in a million years, but I knew I would always be connected to you no matter what.
Me too, man. Absolutely. I know. So that's it for today. But like I said, if you're looking for some leadership and you're in the Georgia area, anywhere in the southern area down there, reach out to James. We'll have his information at the bottom of the podcast when we put this up on YouTube. And make sure you follow us and subscribe to us on YouTube. Thanks.